Let's talk about sun protection. I'm Angela Green, licensed esthetician, and I want to cover three things. Number one, does skin of color need sun protection? And the simple answer is yes, and I'll tell you why. Number two, what is SPF and how does that affect how we use sun protection products? And number three, some of the key ingredients in SPF products, and I have a few examples of some of my favorites, so I'll talk about those and how those really work with our skin, not just of the face but also for the body. So number one, there's a lot of misinformation about whether or not people who have more melanocyte activity or melanocytes period needing SPF, and the simple answer again is yes, we need SPF. To keep it really simple, those of us who have ancestry that live closer to the equator, the cell, any cell, has a cell membrane, you have the cytoplasm where other little organisms live, and you have the cell nucleus. And so these melanocyte cells expand and actually release melanin to the other cells in the body of the skin anytime there's any kind of perceived trauma or real trauma to the skin. It could be overexposure to the sun, it could be a nick or a scratch, and this is why the skin gets darker when there's a trauma or even a perceived trauma or post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So it's really important that we are protecting the skin, we're protecting the outside of the cells, and when we don't do those protective measures, it could cause skin abnormalities. It definitely puts the cell and the function of the cell at risk. Again, the melanocytes expand and go through the skin to protect the DNA of that cell, but what's protecting the overall cell? This is where your SPF comes in. So SPF is defined as sun protection factor, and you may have a 30, you may have a 29, you may have a 50, and that simply corresponds to the number of minutes you can be in direct sunlight, and at that point in time you would need to reapply. If you are sunbathing, then yes, you do need to reapply your SPF product on a fairly regular basis based on the SPF number. But if you're in and out of the sun, you're wearing a floppy hat, or you're under shade, that sort of thing, then you can go a little bit longer than that, especially if you're indoors. You know, one application, maybe 2 applications per day, if you're managing any skin conditions, would be more than sufficient. So this is why we say it's important to reapply that SPF, but it just really depends on how you're moving through your day and if you're exposed to direct sunlight or if you are in and out of the sun directly. And finally, let's talk a little bit about ingredients. So I'll start with this one from Lender Health. This one I absolutely love. I'm wearing it today. I wear it most days, and it is more of a sunscreen due to some of the ingredients. We have avobenzone, we have homosalate, and we have octisalate. Okay, I'm not always 100% of my ingredients, but it's more of a sunscreen which basically filters any UVA or UVB rays the skin will need to stay healthy. So we do need some level of sun exposure, and this is one of the other myths or things that happens. We don't get as much sun exposure, so therefore our vitamin D synthesis and how it works in our bodies when you have skin of color is affected. So a lot of people of color do come up with vitamin D deficiencies. And we have computers, our phones, we have this blue light coming in, and it's not always the healthiest thing for our skin. Our bodies are always trying to remain balanced. But on the other hand, I have this Daily Defense, which is a mineral sunscreen serum. So not only does this have a more physical sunblock in the form of the zinc oxide, it also has some beneficial ingredients like hyaluronic acid, apple stem cell, and squalene. And this one comes from 2L products. This is an amazing line. I've been using this line for years, and I always go back to their SPF in my treatment room. And one of my favorite retail products includes the Supergoop Glow Oil. So this is one that I love to use for the body, especially I'm going to be out and about early in the day, midday, evenings, if I'm wearing something maybe off the shoulder. It gives the skin a very nice glow, but it's also protecting your skin, and skin that's not always very exposed. So if you have any other questions about sun protection, drop them in the comments. Thank you for listening, and make sure you are protecting your skin with the appropriate sun protection products.